Hello again, I'm Wallaber, and I'm the original creator of JellyCar. I'm now making a brand new modern sequel called JellyCar Worlds. With each of these devlogs, I try to think of an interesting theme to talk about that sort of ties together the things I actually did recently on the game. The project is deep in production right now, and last month I talked about my approach to level design, and as I've been making more and more levels, I thought I'd talk about a related topic this month. And that topic is difficulty. And I was thinking about this the other day. Games are interesting because they're a little different than any other medium in that the players are participants. It kind of reminds me of like that moment when a rock band actually calls out someone from the audience and says, "Do you know how to play the guitar?" And then they pull them up on stage and they're like, "Play the song with us." That moment could go a variety of ways. It could be incredible or it could be a struggle. And either way, the person who got pulled up onto stage is really in the spotlight. Now, it's not as extreme as that, but anytime a player picks up a controller to play your game, the same thing is happening. They're coming up on stage and being put in the spotlight. For a player, before they play your game, they don't know if the difficulty of your game is going to match their skill level. Now, as I mentioned last month, my general approach to this is to not focus on making a game get harder and harder as you progress through it. Instead, I like to focus on variety and surprise so that players have a promise of new things as they progress through the game, as opposed to more difficult things. In practice, though, you have to be careful, because if I follow this idea too carefully and I round off the corners and make everything not too difficult, then the game can feel kind of flat. Sure, there's a lot of variety, so as players are going through, they're seeing interesting things, they may be enjoying the journey, but it might end up feeling a little bit like a guided tour. Yeah, I saw a lot of interesting things, but I didn't really accomplish anything. And that's the thing, difficulty is what also provides the opportunity for a feeling of accomplishment, which is something games can uniquely provide. So for JellyCar Worlds, it's not that I don't want anything difficult in the game, it's that I don't want you to get stuck or blocked by something too difficult. The game is generally linear in structure, and so I don't want a single difficult level to stop you from progressing through and enjoying the rest of the game. So instead I have sort of this philosophy of opt-in difficulty. Here's how that looks in JellyCar Worlds. Number 1, every level has a secret exit. A secret exit is like an additional challenge and also frames the level in a different way, more about exploration than just getting to the end. And because secret exits are not required to progress through the game, I can feel a little bit more comfortable having a variety of difficulty levels. A similar system I have is the collectibles in the game. So there are a variety of coins and individual designs for car bodies and tires that you can find in the levels. In order to earn them, you have to collect them and then complete the level normally. And through the placement of these, I can decide if I make that a difficult challenge or one that just kind of happens naturally along the way. So I already have these two things, secret exits and collectibles in the levels, that give me some options to adjust the difficulty. But I've added 2 more things to the game that give me even more. These new things also happen to kind of tie the game together in ways where they solve problems beyond just adding difficulty. There's a famous quote attributed to Shigeru Miyamoto that basically says, "A good design solves multiple problems." And I love to sort of think about that and do my best to find solutions that solve multiple problems. Okay, so what are these amazing things that solve multiple problems? Number 1, challenges. I've already designed the difficulty of the main exit of the level and also thought about where to put a secret exit, where to put collectibles. But I can also look at those levels and say, what if I gave you a different challenge? By far the simplest one is simply a time challenge. Can you beat this level under a certain amount of time? I think these are a great fit for JellyCar, and I like them so much that I actually have 2 challenges related to time. I have what's basically called a par challenge, which just gives you a time and says beat the level within this amount of time. And then I have the beat the dev challenge, where a special ghost recording of me driving through the levels about as fast as I can is your opponent. So that's one level of challenge, which is just playing the existing levels faster. And then I have a slot in every level where I can turn on one more additional challenge if I can think of a great one. And so what I do is I go back and I look at my levels and see if there's some interesting way or interesting constraint you could have while playing that level. I've come up with quite a few. One of my favorites is the reverse level challenge, where I simply place you at the end point and move the stop sign to the start point of the level and ask you to find a way to get there in reverse. This is not possible in all levels, of course, but for the ones that it is possible, it usually makes for a really interesting challenge. I also have other level-specific ones, where if there's a really interesting skip in a level, for example, where you can shortcut the level, then I can add a challenge to encourage you to find and complete that shortcut. I also have the Collect JellyCar challenge, where I distribute the letters in JellyCar throughout the level and you have to collect them all and then complete the level. Overall, I've really been enjoying adding challenges to the game, and I think they solve multiple problems. One, they allow me to make more difficult content that is optional for players. And two, they allow me to get more replayability out of the levels that I'm already making. Challenges also solved one more problem for me. I have this antenna system in the game. You collect coins in the levels and you can spend coins to unlock new toppers for your antennas. The challenge was that I have tons of toppers and not that many coins in the levels, which basically meant that players could not earn very many coins throughout playing the game compared to how many things they could get with those coins. So challenges provided me a great option. I can reward coins for completing challenges. This ties more of the systems together and also gives me a way to give players larger coin payouts. In addition, I can use the coin payout for a challenge to kind of telegraph the difficulty of the challenge. For example, the default par time challenges only pay out 3 coins, where the Race the Dev pay out 5. In a particularly difficult challenge, I will usually have payout 10. So I was pretty satisfied with the challenges and what they've added to the game in terms of opt-in difficulty and tying some other systems of the game together. But one fundamental limitation of challenges is that they're built on top of a base of levels I've already created, which were not designed to be too difficult in the first place. And there's kind of a limit to what you can do working within these level layouts that were designed for a different purpose. So that gave me the idea of adding one very difficult level into each world in the game. Having a dedicated difficult level would free me up and allow me to design the level from the beginning with a higher level of difficulty baked in. Now, I said I don't want players getting stuck, so I can't put these new levels as some kind of requirement for progression. So I decided to make these levels that I'm calling skull levels something more of a payoff as opposed to a requirement. This actually once again tied multiple systems together. I make a really difficult level, I put it past the exit to the world, and I put a big door in front of it that will only open when you've completed all of the levels in the world and found all of the secret exits in that world. Then the door opens and you get access to the skull level. This allows me to strongly telegraph that this is a special and difficult level, while also providing players with a payoff for finding all of the secret exits in the levels. So I'm really happy about this. I've found ways to add difficulty for players where they can opt into it if they want, that doesn't block players from progressing through the game and enjoying the variety, and simultaneously tying multiple game systems together to make a more cohesive whole. Let's finish off today by taking a quick look at the 2 skull levels I've made so far. This here is 1 dash skull. Since it's in World 1, we don't use any power-ups and it's just about navigating the car. We've got a lot of really tricky gaps and jumps to clear and some balancing to do as well. It culminates with a really dramatic section involving conveyor belts and rebounding off of them. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And here's the latest one I made, 2 dash skull. World 2 is all about the grow and shrink power-ups. This one was really fun to design using the grow power-up and all the different ways you can use it. In particular, I really like this wall jump section where you realize you can use the grow power-up to perform wall jumps. So I'm having a great time making these levels, and I really like how I can feel confident in making them difficult without sacrificing the enjoyment the average player can have in my game. Alright, that's it for this month. I'll be back in a month or so talking about whatever's come up as I continue to build JellyCar Worlds. Thanks!